So, how does an underdog actually win? Today, we're going to break down the playbook for I, Daniel Blake, a small, fiercely political British film that managed to punch way above its weight, defying all the industry logic to become a huge cultural and political flashpoint. Wow, that one single line, spoken by the film's main character, just cuts right to the heart of the whole film, doesn't it? It's this powerful declaration of dignity in the face of a dehumanizing system. This isn't just a line from a movie, it's a mission statement, and it really sets the stage for a story that would resonate far, far beyond the movie theater. And that really brings us to the big question here. I mean, in an industry just dominated by massive blockbusters, how on earth did this gritty, low-budget film about the British welfare system manage to capture international awards, spark furious political debate, and become its famous director's highest-grossing film? Let's dive in and break down that playbook. Okay, first up, the money. You've got to understand where the funding came from. Because for a film like I, Daniel Blake, this wasn't just about paying the bills. Nope. The funding model was absolutely fundamental to its identity and its uncompromising message. So, you've basically got two very different ways to get a film made, right? On one side, you've got the huge Hollywood model. It's all about profit, power, and playing it safe. But I, Daniel Blake, totally different story. It was funded with a completely different logic. Public bodies like the British Film Institute and BBC Films, they weren't looking for a massive payday. They invested because the film had cultural weight. It was a story they felt just had to be told. And that's exactly why having a public broadcaster like the BBC involved was so crucial. See, their official job, their remit, it isn't just to entertain you. It's to inform, to educate, and to reflect what's really happening in communities across the country. So a film like I, Daniel Blake, one that shines a bright light on a major social issue, well, it fits that mission perfectly. A big commercial studio probably would have never touched it. All right, part 2 of the playbook, the actual style of the film. To make its message land with real impact, it couldn't just tell a story. You had to feel it. It had to feel totally, completely real, almost like you're watching a documentary. And they pulled this off by absolutely mastering a very specific genre. And that genre is called social realism. What is that? Well, it's all about showing the harsh, unfiltered truth of everyday life, especially for working class people. The goal here is definitely not escapism. It's the exact opposite, confrontation. It's designed to make you really look at social issues without any of that glossy Hollywood polish. And that commitment to being authentic, it drove every single choice they made. No A-list stars here. Instead, they cast unknown actors so they'd feel like people you actually know. They didn't build elaborate sets. They filmed in real job centers on real streets in Newcastle. Literally every decision was made to serve that raw realism. It's the complete opposite of the blockbuster formula. Okay, so they've got the powerful message, they've got this super authentic style, but how in the world do you get people to actually go see a film like this? Well, the answer is in part 3 of the playbook. A marketing campaign that was just as scrappy and defiant as the movie itself. They leaned hard into something called guerrilla marketing. Now, this isn't about buying a bunch of expensive TV ads. Not at all. It's about creating these big, high-impact, unforgettable moments on a tiny budget. The whole point is to get people talking, to get them sharing. It's smart, it's cheap, and for this film, it was absolutely perfect. And this was their masterstroke. They took the film's most powerful, defiant message and projected it, right, onto the side of the Houses of Parliament. I mean, what a bold political statement. It just completely blurred the line between marketing a movie and a full-blown protest. And of course, it went viral. It was all over the news. And right away, everyone knew exactly what this film was about. But that amazing viral moment was really just the beginning. They built a genuine grassroots movement from the ground up. They actually hired regional officers to set up local screenings and discussions in communities that would really connect with the film's message. Then, to get the word out even more, they teamed up with the Daily Mirror, a newspaper that was already sympathetic to their cause. And the final brilliant move? They invited the leader of the opposition party, Jeremy Corbyn, to the premiere. That move pretty much guaranteed the film would explode into front-page political news. So, the big question, did this whole playbook actually work? Well, that really depends on how you measure success. Because for a movie like this one, it's never just about the box office numbers. The box office figures themselves tell a really interesting story. In the UK, it was a big success. And in France, it was huge, probably because there's a really strong tradition of social commentary in French cinema. But in the US market, yeah, it barely made a ripple. So that tells you its commercial appeal was strong, for sure, but also very specific to certain audiences. But then you have this, winning the Palme d'Or. That's the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival, one of the biggest honors in the entire world of cinema. This wasn't just an award. It was a massive statement. It cemented the film's place as a huge cultural event and proved its value was about way, way more than just selling tickets. And you know what? Even if you just look at the money, it was still a huge success for what it was. It brought in over $8 million worldwide. That made it the highest-grossing film of director Ken Loach's entire, very long career. It was proof that a film with a real social conscience could absolutely find a big audience. And all of this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and maybe the most important part of this whole story, the film's legacy. Because I, Daniel Blake wasn't a film people just watched and forgot about. Oh no, it was debated, it was argued over, it was even used as a political weapon. Almost immediately, the film became a flashpoint for the real-world political debate happening in the UK over austerity and welfare reform. You had one side, with a former government minister calling it a totally unfair and distorted picture. And then you had the other side, with director Ken Loach saying he was just showing the brutal reality that these government policies were creating. The film basically forced the entire country to have a conversation. But did that big conversation actually lead to any real change? That's the tricky part. This academic take here raises a really important point. It compares it to another one of Loach's films from way back in the 60s, Kathy Come Home. That film also caused a massive public outcry about homelessness, but you could argue it didn't really solve the root problem. So it suggests that, yeah, these films are incredibly powerful, but their long-term impact, well, it can be pretty complicated. And so that leaves us with this huge final question about the real power of a film like I, Daniel Blake. I mean, there's no doubt it succeeded in making invisible people visible. It gave a voice to the voiceless, and it absolutely shaped the public conversation. But can a piece of art, no matter how powerful it is, actually change the government policies it's criticizing? Or is its biggest achievement just forcing us all to have that difficult conversation in the first place? Definitely something to think about.